welcome to Cutting Up in the Kitchen. We have an exciting episode today. I have an anthropologist here. She's going to be telling us all about this fantastic book that she has written. She's an author, an educator, community activist. She's all that and more. Without further ado, Abrafi Sanyika. Did I say your last name correct?
Sanyika.
Sanyika.
How are you?
I'm so happy for you to come on my show today.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
You know, Abrafi has written this fantastic book, and I was just so in awe over it, and she's going to tell us all about it. And how did you come up with the title for this book?
Well, actually, Makeda, Queen of Sheba. My daughter's name is Makeda. She's named after the historical Queen of Sheba from 3,000 years ago. And she wore beautiful dreadlocks when she was younger, and they were like a lion's mane, and they seemed to just have so much energy that they connected to other energy in the cosmos, and that's the inspiration for the book.
Oh, that's just so fantastic. So tell me, what's the age group that the book was written for?
It's basically targeted toward age 9 to 13, but there's certainly a lot in there that any adult could enjoy. There's an epilogue as well that chronicles more information, so it's for young and old alike.
Well, being an educator, Abrafi, what would you say is the link that's missing out of our history book that you've captured in this book?
Hopefully, I have captured some of the information that is there. Sometimes it's available, but it's hidden between the covers of a book. So I asked my friend Roderick Vines, who is an incredible artist, to illustrate some of this historical information, and we turned it into a historical fiction, which would encourage children to read.
And it's just thumbing through the book and looking at the book. I mean, I can be talking to you for hours on a time. Everything is so detailed and explained so beautifully. I just don't think it should just be for the children. I think the adults definitely should have it in their inventory of books to have.
Well, thank you very much. It's available to adults and children alike. And the artwork, as I said, my graphic artist as well, Kiyama Alexis, was just invaluable in terms of giving suggestions as to how to design the cover. And the artist, Roderick Vines, is nationally known. He's a very famous artist, and he was kind enough to agree to do the illustrations, and the book could not have happened without both of these very talented people.
Well, I know that it's been a long passion of yours.
Yes.
And the journey. Can you tell us about the journey to get where you are today in terms of the book?
In terms of the book, well, several things had happened. To begin with, one morning I woke up and the book just kind of came forward. It took me half an hour to write the basic frame for the book. And then I discovered that there's a lot more to publishing a book than just writing the story. So we went through a number of changes. At one point I was told that I could not use my illustrations. I'd have to use the illustrations from the publisher, which of course, looking at the book and the artwork, that was a no-starter. That could not happen.
So you're telling me basically that if you went with certain publishers, you would have to take out, add to, minus important
Absolutely.
facts.
And that's what stopped me for a while until I took a deep breath and said, I think the information is worthwhile and I'm going to put it out there. And so that's what I did.
Well, that's fantastic. I know that I've known you for a number of years, and you know, being an educator here locally, you've done so much, been involved with the community. Is any bits and pieces? I know you mentioned it was based on your daughter, but how did you choose the illustrator? How did you go about doing that?
Well, the illustrator, as I said, is a good friend of mine, Roderick Vines. He and his wife live in Atlanta. And I've known him since before my daughter, Makeda, was born. So he was kind enough not only to do the illustrations, but he gave me the originals, which illustrators don't do that. They will give you the right to use the material, but they retain the originals. And he was kind enough to just give them to me because he's a good person.
I mean, can you show, let's take a look, because I really, the illustration is just fabulous. I mean, if you guys can just take a look at that, it's just beautifully, and it's beautifully written. And I wanted to ask you to describe to us the storyline. Now, if you could share this part is just so fantastic. I really related to it because my hair is similar to hers right now.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, she wore dreadlocks, and they were like a lion's mane. And she discovered that the dreadlocks were actually antenna to the ancestors.
Wow.
And so one night when she was sleeping, one of the antennae raised, and the Queen of Sheba from antiquity over 3,000 years ago came to her in a vision dream and explained her story. And her story includes the biblical story of Solomon and Sheba, because Makeda is the name of the Queen of Sheba. So it talks about Solomon and Sheba. And later on, she had other vision dreams. She met up with Hatshepsut, who was a pharaoh, a female pharaoh in Egypt.
And I don't mean to cut you off, but I mean, do you guys know this stuff? Let me know if you need more information, because this is so valuable. That's why I'm saying it should be a desktop, and it should be part of the school district's book of choice. And we need to do something about that. But go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Oh, absolutely. And so she continues, and there's even a scene where she and Solomon get to know each other.
Wow.
And of course, since we're talking about ancient foods, we're looking at the banquet scene that Solomon decided to fate her before she left. And so that's what we're looking at there. And of course, the food was very spicy, and there was no water. So she finally slipped out into the courtyard and took a sip of water, and Solomon said, well, you've taken something without asking permission. It's something valuable. And she said, well, this is just water.
Which is the most important element of all.
Absolutely.
We cannot live without water, and we need it.
The most precious thing on earth. So.
There you go, guys. And we need to drink at least 8 glasses a day. Nothing has changed since ancient times.
Right, right. And so she met other ancestors. She met Hatshepsut. Very, very beautiful illustration.
Beautiful.
We appreciate her.
Absolutely.
And later on, she met, and these are all in vision dreams. Her dreadlocks are antenna to the ancestors. She met Toussaint Louverture, who was the opener or the liberator of Haiti. And a lot of people do not know that that was the only slave rebellion in the history of the world that was successful. And those people went from being physical slaves to being the rulers of their own country. So that's worth telling our children. We need to know about that.
This information is so valuable. And just in case everybody forgot, and they're so busy tweeting and doing this and using their fingers, they're forgetting about their education, because if you don't know where you come from, you certainly don't know where you're going. Can you take me back to the banquet? And this brings us to what's on the table. Because during that time in ancient times, the foods really haven't changed. We have dates. Okay, I don't know if people have seen these dates. These are fresh dates, and they grow on a tree. And then we have grapes, we have lentils, pumpkins, apricots, which is an ancient food, and of course walnuts. And walnuts, you know, we know it's a brain food. It's a brain, it looks like a brain, and it's ancient. And then we have mangoes and peppers and cloves and garlic and coconut. And all these foods are a part of what God put here for us. When He made us, He made the foods for us to eat. It's just that man has taken it to a different height. So I suggest keep eating the ancient foods, because they were made for human beings. Okay, and cut out the processed stuff. And by all means, drink your water. And this is today's banquet of what Makeda experienced in her dreams. And I kind of feel like I'm connected, because every night this thing goes up and I'm in a different place.
Absolutely.
So it's fantastic. Can you tell me, how would you describe the storyline?
It is historical fiction. A number of quotations in there are directly from the Bible, from the Holy Quran, and from the Kebra Nagast, which is the Ethiopian text, the Book of the Glory of Kings. So I did include historical information including the fact that the lineage of Solomon and Sheba came all the way down to present times. Haile Selassie, the last emperor of Ethiopia, is directly related to the Queen of Sheba and Solomon. So it is history, and it's done in a fictitious way so that it's a bit more enjoyable for children rather than just stark information. But the quotations are legitimate, including where Toussaint was tortured, and they wanted him to give up the secret of where 32 million gold francs were buried in the hills in Haiti, and he refused to give it up. And they tortured him, beat him, everything. He simply said, "My conscience is my only treasure." He would not reveal it.
And so just imagine if people were more like that today.
Absolutely.
I mean, the world is a changed animal.
Mm-hmm. And there are a lot of people who are working hard to make things better. You certainly are.
Well, I'm trying my best.
Absolutely.
And I mean, we can do it one person at a time. I really believe that one person can make a difference, and it is a ripple effect. I honestly believe that. I had an experience, and I really don't know to this day yet how, because I went back and saw ancestors, and I don't know how to interpret that yet. I mean, God hasn't put it forth for what I saw in my past, and how to apply it now. I'm still kind of waiting to put that together, but I've had some experiences, and it's quite interesting because I like to learn and I like to read, and that came out of my thirst of knowledge to read. I just started reading everything, and I just couldn't know where to place it. So I guess as I live, it'll come to me eventually.
Absolutely.
And I think that it's so important, Abrafi, to continue your education and sharing what because you've been an educator since I've known you.
Yes, on and off, absolutely.
In the community, right?
Right.
So what was your subject at the time when you were teaching?
Well, I've taught just about all of them, but I formed a group called the Egyptian Repertory Company, and what we do is research rather oblique information. It's there, it's important, but it's not well known. One of the things that we researched many years ago was a confirmation that the state of California is actually named for a black woman. Her name was Califia, and that's a whole nother story. But those are kinds of bits of information that we need to bring out to our children and to the adults, because the adults are the ones who get to teach the children.
Well, I think that with Makeda and the Queen of Sheba, it's illustrated so beautifully. Yes. Children would not want to put it down. By looking at the pictures, they're going to have to read what is going on.
Absolutely.
And it's so, but now if you look at some of the old educational books that the school district offer for history are awful. Nobody wants to even read them because the images are so depressing.
Yes, and inaccurate a lot of times.
Absolutely.
As a matter of fact, the Queen of Sheba, if you go to the Bible, it indicates that she said she was, what is the expression? I'm black and comely, O ye daughters of Jerusalem, black as the tents of Kedar. But if you don't know what the tents of Kedar are, you don't know what that means. Well, Kedar is a place in Central Arabia, and to this day, when they pitch tents, they use black goat skin. So that was a 3,000-year-old way of saying black is beautiful.
Absolutely. Okay. And it's a good protection from the sun.
And
that's why we got that color, because of the region that we're in.
It's a blessing.
So why did you choose to write an epilogue?
I wrote an epilogue primarily because some of the historical information, the quotations, are a bit, well, they're from way back, so they're a bit difficult for a child to read. But I would expect that an adult or a child who is a little bit older would be able to read it and understand it. But for an adult, I would like them to be able to give the information to the children in addition to what's in the actual storyline. For instance, the Queen of Sheba, actually, when she went to visit Solomon, took $3,600,000 $3,600,000 worth of gold. That was back then. That was a lot of money. And a description of his throne, a description of how many asses, she took the donkeys, you know, carrying all these things. So it's information that would be important if you want to find out a bit more about the story of Solomon and Sheba.
What do you want the readers to take from this?
I want the readers to take pride in the history of African people and of Africans in the diaspora. I want them to take pride in themselves and to feel a sense of accomplishment, because if their ancestors accomplished, that's in their genes. They can accomplish it as well. And so I hope that it will encourage them to reach the heights of their potential and to pass the information along to other people, to be inspired to want to learn more about our history. You
said something that is so powerful, because we all know, no matter what, we can't get away from our ancestors. Absolutely. We can't get away from our genes. We are a product of our inheritance. Absolutely. And that's, I'm a product of my mom, my dad, her dad, on and on and on. Absolutely. And it's nothing we can do about it but embrace it. And I don't understand why people don't, because things do come to us. I mean, you can say whatever you want, but God is really powerful, and he'll drop something on you, and all you can do is get up and try to scramble. You don't know what you're doing. You're just doing it. You know, so it's really interesting how the concept, I'm just so elated to be able to share this with you here on the show and with the viewers, because it's really good information, and I really want to take from this and just remind people how important it is, as it was then, to eat from the earth and eat what's natural. I mean, we kind of got to eat like a caveman. Did a caveman have yogurt? Did he? I mean, yogurt is good right now, but did he have dried fruit? No. What did he do? What did the caveman do?
He ate what was available to him.
Stuff growing out of the ground, and protein.
Absolutely.
And you all know we got meat, you know, chicken, turkey, beef, eggs, all those things are protein. But before even man figured out how to light a fire, he had to eat from the trees. Absolutely. And so the mangoes, you guys know, is today, and there's the world's apple. And it has vitamin A, C, and E, and you can't go wrong with those antioxidants. And coconut, again, is so popular right now, and we know coconut water is to die for, because it gives you electrolytes and makes you feel better. You don't have to go with the sugary drinks, but you can take some coconut water and eat the meat. So it's just so fantastic, and it's so old.
Right.
I mean, it's just amazing. And of course, lentils. I mean, it's just biblical.
Absolutely.
And it's still here. So it's just so fantastic to be able to reinforce what came up then is here now. It hasn't gone anywhere. I think as long as man is alive, then, I mean, because we have to eat to live. You know.
Absolutely. And I think I heard someone say that if people from 100 years ago were to come back now, they would see things that they would not even recognize as food, because we eat so many processed foods, things that just taste good, have no food value. You know, they cause a lot of health problems with a lot of preservatives. So that's back to nature.
Absolutely. One of the reasons why there is chronic disease is because people, what happens is that, you know, you're young, and when you're born, you have a perfect body, and then as you age and as you eat the wrong things, and now with all the steroids in the milk and in the meat, and if you don't put antioxidants in your body, the free radicals are going to eat at your organs, and then that's what causes chronic disease. So when something bad is in there, you got to put something good in, because it's like little Pac-Mans. Eating away. That's the way I describe it. I describe it as gangbangers inside of you, trying to run amok on your organs. So you got to put the right stuff in there to fight them off, because that's why your organs do get chronic disease, because of a bad diet and a continuation of a bad diet.
Right. And your show has been excellent in terms of informing people about things that are good for them to eat and encouraging them, because this certainly looks beautiful. It may be good for me, but more than that, it looks good.
Well, and more, even, you know, it's just as simple as eating a red bell pepper like this, or 3 slices, according to the medical professions. If you do this 3 times a week, that will cut Alzheimer's disease, if you're going to get it, by 39%. So if you're eating red and green peppers, sweet peppers, then you're fighting disease without knowing it. And I just can't get over the mango. I mean, I literally love mangoes because it makes me feel good and I don't have to take the supplements. A, C, and E, A, C, and E in one fruit, and it's considered 2 fruits. When you eat one mango, it's considered 2 fruits.
Oh.
So I love it, and I'm on the coconut water. I eat the mango, and I have to go to bed with cherries every night.
What a great way to go to bed.
Yeah, because, it helps me sleep. It has the tryptophan in it. Plus, it fights, it's an anti-inflammatory. So if you have gout, you got to eat a lot of cherries. If you can't get the cherries in season, go with dried cherries. You need about 6 of them. And that's equal to about 18 to 22 fresh.
Okay.
And tart cherry juice. But all those things is nothing new because all those things were created. And the region in which these came from, I guess every region on Earth has its fruits.
That are relative to
like
that
the
population
people.
and that climate.
Yeah, like the people.
Okay.
We're like a reflection of the dirt
Okay.
where we come from. So, having the red man, yellow man, white man, brown man, black man, because there's some really black people that are way darker than any African American I know.
Oh, original man.
Exactly.
Of course.
So it's just it's so nice just to be able to say that, and knowing that eating the fruits of what was given to us, and I can't tell you how important it is for me to share it, and it's a constant battle. Because we're dealing with small kids eating bad food, getting breasts at 9 years old.
Yes.
I think that's.
And what is causing that?
I think
hormones.
The hormones in the milk, the food. It's a combination of things. You just got to try to go with it and do the best that you can. I know a lot of people don't like a lot of things, but sometimes we have to do what we don't like. Even adults have to learn how to eat crow, right? We all have to do that from time to time. So, and I treat it like medicine, frankly.
Absolutely.
So tell me,
yes.
I need to know, are we looking at a movie? Are we looking at a Makeda doll? Is that in the works?
All of that may be in the future. I was out of the country for 10 weeks.
Oh,
and
I forgot to
back.
say she's a world traveler, guys. Can you tell us about it? You hit.
I went to Spain, Morocco, Gibraltar, Turkey, Greece, and my last stop was in Ghana for PanaFest 2015, the Pan-African Festival. So I have truly had a marvelous experience. And as a matter of fact, of course, in West Africa, preservatives are almost unknown. Everyone is eating fresh food, and the people are remarkably healthy. Their skin, their teeth, it's quite inspirational.
So you were in Ghana?
Yes.
And it's interesting that when you went to Turkey, you went to Turkey, right?
I was in Turkey, yes.
Esfala? Where were you at in Turkey?
I was in Istanbul for 12 days. Then I went to Ephesus, Cappadocia, a number of places in the central south area, not as far as the Syrian border, but I went there to go hot air ballooning, which was hell.
Oh my goodness.
It was just incredible, and I thought, I'm as healthy as I'm going to be. I can't wait until next year when I'm 5'8" and 135 pounds. It's not going to happen. So I went.
Don't worry about it.
Loved it, had a wonderful time. And then I came back and stayed in Istanbul another 4 days before I went to Greece.
That must have been fantastic. Now, I got to ask this question. It may seem silly, but everybody's talking about the Mediterranean diet. So what diet was really going on in Greece?
Well, Greece was good. Istanbul was great.
Oh, tell me.
They eat a lot of fresh vegetables, a lot of fresh fruit. Nearly every day we had pineapple or watermelon or both. And they do a lot of lamb.
Oh, yeah.
And next time I come on your show, I want you to fix some lamb, because I can eat some lamb.
We'll come
well.
and do it on location, because they won't
Right.
let me steam up in here, but I will come and fix something in the kitchen and show everybody how to make it. And it's just been so wonderful. Can you leave us with something that perhaps I missed, that it's so important? I don't want to overlook any important element that you want to tell me and the viewers.
Well, I think the most important element for all of us is to remember that the history of African people is the history of the world's people. We're not a separate group of people. There's only one humanity. There's only one God. So what benefits African people, African Americans, will benefit everyone else. So I'm hoping that everyone will get on that train, so to speak, and let's move forward to make the world a better place for all of us.
Well, that sounds so fantastic, and I can't thank you enough for joining us today. I
Thank
look
you.
forward to it. So we're going to come up with some recipes to utilize our fruit and lentils and pumpkin seeds. And we're going to probably have you back once you do your book signing, and I'm sure that it's just going to take off. How could a person reach you if they're interested in Makeda and the Queen of Sheba?
Well, for the present, they would have to reach me at the website, which is included in the book. But I'm not quite ready to do a full marketing approach.
Okay.
But I would like to say, as our beloved ancestor Miriam Makeba said a long time ago, study well, Africa needs you. Okay.
Wonderful.
So I
Now,
can't say it
one
better.
other little thing. Can you tell our up-and-coming writers a little bit of inspiration and to keep them going to finish the book that they've started?
Well, it took a long time to get this book from that half an hour at 6:30 one morning to having a call saying, it's here. You have to just keep going through the process. And each time you learn more about what to do. I promise you the next time it will be a lot easier.
And so I am just elated, you guys. It's been fantastic. The time just went by so fast. Thank you so much, Abrafi, for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, you're more than welcome. And I look forward to sharing her thoughts on book number 2, maybe, or movie, or the doll. We have a common friend. We're going to try to get her to make a Makeda doll for
Absolutely.
us.
Absolutely.
So we'll see you next time on Cutting Up in the Kitchen with B. Shay.
Thank you.